Concessions.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Coops Concessions. Before we get started, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. And we're here to talk about the top 10 worst movies of 2025. And I'm not here to just bash these movies for no reason. No, I anticipated every single movie, almost every single movie on this list to be good. I wanted them to be great, but they all failed in one way or another. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's just get right into it with number 10.
10,
Lilo and Stitch, the Disney live action film. You know what? This isn't even really about Lilo and Stitch itself. It's about all live action Disney movies. They just feel soulless. I might give it, Cinderella or in Beauty and the Beast, but almost every live action Disney movie just feels like the magic isn't there. You go see these movies for the nostalgia, for the feeling that you have for the first one, and it seems like they're either adding too much of something or they took away something that you loved the most about the movie, and like it just doesn't even hit the same. And we all go see it because it looks like it's part of our real world and it's going to make billions of dollars because of nostalgia, but these movies are trash. Most of these live action movies are horrible. And with this one, it's just another case of it. And Ohana doesn't mean family in this movie. Ohana means like, hey, I'm going to go get my shit together and you're going to a foster home. That's exactly how this movie ends. What's up next?
9,
Captain America Brave New World. At this point in the MCU, I'm expecting like mad crossovers. I'm expecting heroes to be helping heroes. We all know we all live in the same universe, right? So why aren't people helping other people? Because I don't think in any world or comic book world where Sam Wilson's Captain America is taking on Red Hawk by himself, it didn't even seem believable. And where we have a Red Hawk without a Green Hawk, what? And I don't even know if I want the Green Hawk because last time we saw him, Thanos beat him smart, and he's just been in the corner, popping up every once in a while. That's a whole other situation. But look, this movie was supposed to be a lot better than what it was. Why isn't Shang-Chi helping Captain America? You know, this is probably one of the worst multi-verse sagas in anything. I don't know. I think the only real multiverse shit that we really got was like from Doctor Strange, and the story itself wasn't that bad, tying it in with, the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Speaking of Winter Soldier, he made a cameo appearance to give him a speech to win. And I'm like, nah, man, we want to see heroes helping heroes at this point. We all know that we're here, so why are we still have our standalone movies? Look, Doomsday better like blow my mind. I better be in the theater and like my brain needs to explode because the MCU hill is going down for me, to be honest with you. And I just need y'all to do better because I know you can.
8,
Karate Kid Legends. Karate Kid, this was supposed to be your Avengers moment. You named this movie Karate Kid Legends, and all we got was Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. Definitely legends in this whole Karate Kid thing, but where's Jaden Smith? Where's Hilary Swank from the next Karate Kid? If you're gonna call this Legends, bring out the legends. You know, I like the idea of like the kid is from China and then he goes to America dealing with the situations that every other Karate Kid has dealt with. But like, don't call it Legends, and we only got like two people from the show from the movie. Speaking of the show, this movie wouldn't even really make sense to exist without the show. So where are the kids from the show? Where's the 6 seasons on Netflix of Cobra Kai, and we get Danny LaRusso and Johnny at the end for a cameo? It makes absolute no sense at all. What also doesn't make sense in this movie is that you have a guy who's a boxer, and then there's a kid helping him with his boxing lessons through kung fu. I don't think that's how fighting styles work. I don't. I'm. This movie was not good. Not good at all. And you called it Legends, and you don't got no legends. You got two legends. And y'all dropped the ball on this one. Absolutely terrible. What's next?
7,
Jurassic World Rebirth. Hey, quick question. What was reborn in this movie? I'm tired of these movies where it's like rebirth or resurrection, and it's like it has nothing to do with the title. Just call this like really just call this Jurassic Park 7, and we can move on. I actually wasn't mad at the beginning of this movie of the whole plot, even though it's the same shit over and over again. We got to get some more Dino DNA, as if we don't have enough Dino DNA from the last movie, but we got to go to another island where we don't belong, getting Dino DNA from a billionaire who's clearly corrupted because he's a billionaire, right? And then it's just like we're running into the same situations over and over again. But what made this one worse is that there's a whole family taking a vacation by this island, and they act like they don't even know dinosaurs are around us anymore. Is this movie it started off good, but like I don't know, it went terrible with the terrible acting from the family. It was terrible because we're doing the same thing over and over again. We're always on an island collecting DNA that clearly we don't have enough of. Like something needs to happen with Jurassic Park, man. We need to like I don't know, like don't we Flintstone this shit, like make these dinosaurs work with us in our everyday lives or something. Switch it up a little bit, or like make Fast and Furious and Jurassic World something that might actually be a good crossover. Some people might see that. I don't know, but look, we just need something different in Jurassic World. We can't just keep going to islands that we're not supposed to be going to collect some shit that I thought we already had, and people die. That's that's what it seems like Jurassic Park is at this point. But I don't know what's next with the franchise. Maybe the next one will be Rebirth 2 and something will come out of it. I don't know.
6,
This next one really hurt my heart, because I'm a huge fan of everyone that was involved in this movie. Almost everyone. Highest to lowest. And I love Spike Lee. I love Denzel Washington. I love Jeffrey Wright. And you know what? I was just confused by this movie. After they kidnapped Denzel Washington's son, and later on in the film, I'm like, what the hell is going on? The acting was great from the people you expect the acting to be great from, but it's just like such of a mess all around them, you know. And like Denzel Washington, and ASAP Rocky are making music together after ASAP stole his son, kidnapped his son, and then there's a shootout that leads to a music video. I was confused. I was just confused. And it really didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'm sorry if this was supposed to have some kind of meaning, it went over my head completely. And it hurts to see something like this on this list, but it just didn't do it for me. It really didn't do it. And I walked out confused and truly disappointed um from what I just saw.
5,
Speaking of confusing movies, I'm so tired of this like mysterious shit. I really am. And Hurry Up Tomorrow was one confusing ass mysterious movie that didn't make any sense to me at all. Absolutely, and nothing. The album was great. Hurry Up Tomorrow, the album is great. The Weeknd is an amazing artist when it comes to his music, but let's be honest, he can't act. Between this and the Idol, it is clear that the Weeknd, this ain't your field, bro. I'm sorry. This just like he has presence when he's on the screen, but there's no emotion. There's terrible dialogue. There's terrible delivery, and he's surrounded by great actors, but with everything going on, it just feels so watered down. And on top of that, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. This movie was like one long ass music video of like you're staring at something for a while with music in the background, and you're like, "Are we gonna cut to the next scene? What's going on?" I don't. If this was more of a music video, maybe like a 30-minute music video, you know how like Michael Jackson used to do, then maybe I would accept it just a little bit more. But don't put the shit in the theaters and expect me to be like, oh yeah, this was a great mysterious movie and it made that and this and that. No, this was horrible, absolutely horrible. Look, Abel, just stick to the music, bro. Just stick to the music. Um, this was not it, and I wanted it to be because I'm a huge fan. Yeah, the album's great, movie's trash.
4,
The Smashing Machine. This is the movie starring The Rock about Mark Kerr and his career in the UFC. But what this movie's really about is how Mark Kerr gets ready for a fight, and then he fights with his wife, and then he loses the actual fight, and then he goes home and he fights with his wife. But then later on, they make up and they get ready for another fight. But then he fights with his wife again, and then he loses another fight because he fought with his wife. Who wrote this movie? Whoever wrote this movie has a vendetta on his wife or something. Because this whole movie was about their relationship and how she messes up every single fight he's about to get into because they fight. I felt like this whole movie, I was just like at a couple's party, and you're just like trying to play it cool, but they're fighting the whole time. And this is more about like Mark Kerr's terrible relationship with his wife and his addiction with drugs, so he won't feel pain, and it was not done very well. Now the acting was great. I'm really happy for The Rock to step out of his comfort zone, and Emily Blunt, she's just gonna bring it every single time. But like, who wrote this? I feel like the actors did what they were supposed to do, but they probably looked at this was like, this doesn't really have anything to do with Mark Kerr's life. It's more about his relationship. But like, that's all it was. There was more fighting in this relationship than there was UFC fighting in the movie, and I didn't learn shit about Mark Kerr except for that him and his wife did not get along. So that's what I got out of this.
3.
Him. You know what? I saw this movie a second time and I was thinking like maybe I was a little too harsh, you know? But not really, because I still stand by what I say that this movie is more symbolism and scenery than it is story and substance. And I understand what they were going for. It's all about sacrifice. What it is that you're willing to sacrifice to be the greatest of all time. What people have to go through, what they put their bodies through, how they were pretty much built from this from the start. And this movie is like a behind the scenes horror of what you really sacrifice. You sacrifice your soul, your family, and there might be some demonic stuff going on. But there was like just too many surreal moments in this movie. And by the time you understand what's really going on, it's like I'm clocked out, bro. Like this was it. I just felt like it was so basic. The meaning of the whole movie just felt basic after watching it the second time around. And I expected better from you, Jordan Peele. I know you didn't direct it. I know it's from Justin Tipping, but your name is all over this. Monkey Paw Productions is all over this. And I expect you to do better, to know better. You watched this and you were like, "Oh yeah, right." No, no, brother. You may get out, and the least you could do with this movie was help out because it's trash. It's just like a huge build up. There's so much build up to this movie, and then when you're at the end, you're just like, oh, okay, that's it. All right. Shout out to Marlon Wayans. Like I've always said, Marlon Wayans is a great actor. He needs to be doing more dramatic roles. I think people don't really understand the talent that he truly does have. Shout out to Tyreek Withers as well. I think he did great in this movie too. But this movie was could have been a lot better. A lot better. And Jordan Peele, you know better. All right? What's next?
2.
The Strangers Chapter 2. This movie has a director, two of them, but it has no direction. They had like a one hit wonder back in 2007 with the original Strangers. Great movie. And then they had another one that felt kind of watered down. And now we have a Strangers Chapter 1, Chapter 2 trying to tell us a origin story of how this all happened. But I think the best thing about the Strangers is that we don't know shit about them. Isn't that why it's called the Strangers? Because we don't know about the people who are killing people and they don't know about them too. Like, and now we have like a backstory that doesn't even this is not even in order. The director said himself, we put this out in random orders, and now you have to figure out how to watch them when they all come out. This is chapter two. There's supposed to be one more after this, and I'm all clocked out. There's a scene in this movie where there's a boar that attacks this woman in the woods, and I'm like, it's so random. Terrible CGI too. So random. But the boar has a better backstory than anyone else in this movie. I'm not even lying to you. They give the boar a flashback and it attacks this girl. And apparently they used to be friends or something. This movie is wildly all over the place. And I'm not even lying. It truly is all over the place because the directors put it out in random order. That's I don't think we need a backstory or an origin story from a movie called The Strangers. What am I even watching now if like we know them, right? Just stick to the idea of them being strangers. That's what the hell.
One.
You know, him was actually going to be number one on this list, but the fact that this movie had a director, but he wasn't there to direct the movie, automatic loss. It's over. Number one is War of the Worlds, and you knew that. You knew it. You saw the memes. You've seen the reviews. You saw Ice Cube trying to explain himself. Look, this movie was absolutely garbage. Okay, terrible acting, terrible CGI, absolutely no tension in this movie, and just the worst advertisement I've ever seen. The guy works for Amazon, and then he has to go to his girlfriend. And he's like, "Oh, well, we can just order the drone from Amazon, and I'm gonna drive my Amazon truck." And by the way, did I mention you're watching this on Prime? Like, we get it, we get it. It was way too much. And I want to give this movie some kind of leeway, but no, it's trash all the way through. This movie was made in 2020 during COVID, and you just had these actors in front of their screen and just told them to act. You don't have that kind of talent in this movie. No disrespect to Ice Cube and everyone else in this movie, but like you don't have the actors where they could just improvise and give you something incredible. This movie was not it in any way, shape, or form. And you know what's crazy? I do believe if this movie did come out in 2020 when you were in your home and you didn't have shit to watch. This movie probably would have hit. This movie probably would have hit really hard if you were just at home, like, oh, they're in front of their screen. I'm in front of my screen every day. Like, I don't know. I feel like we would have got a different kind of reaction back then than we do now. And you know, these it's crazy too because it's like if you mention War of the Worlds like it's in some kind of found footage kind of way, then it seems like, oh well, you know, that could work. That could work. But this is the execution was horrible. They shouldn't have called it War of the Worlds. You just messed with a franchise that didn't need to be touched, honestly. And it was really unfortunate. Truly unfortunate. And that's why this is number one on the list. But thank you guys for watching for all 10 of these movies. I truly, truly do appreciate it. Thank you for watching all my reviews from the year. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate you. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Look, next year, 2026, we're doing big things. All right. We're actually going to add more concessions in the name Coops Concessions. You feel me? Um, but as always, thank you guys again. Thank you for sticking with me for the whole year. Um, I think I have one more review. One more review for the year's up. And then next year, we will start the most anticipated movies of 2026. And then we're going to move on from there. Guys, I hope you had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope it was good to you. Thank you guys for watching again. I'm Coop. I'm out. Peace.
Coops Concessions.